I think we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to MCJ Report number 175. I hope that wherever you are, you're having a lovely evening, and I hope you had a great weekend, and hopefully you've got some decent dinner sorted for yourself. All right, guys, so I can see a whole bunch of my regular viewers here. There's Sharon, Tony, Stephen, Dragon, how you going? It's great to see you guys. I hope that you're all doing super well. So guys, why don't you go ahead and share the broadcast? Let's get the word out there. Give us a hand sharing out to the groups, because sometimes the social media algorithms simply do not do us any favors. That's right. So anyway, there's a lot going on, guys. So what will we be talking about on tonight's episode? Well, there's a few things. We're going to be chatting about some Freedom Party updates, and there is a lot going on, which I'm so happy to announce. Also, we see that Dan Andrews has dished out 6.8 million tax dollars for the Pride parties. That's right. So $6.8 million will cover 4 street Pride parties. We're going to have a bit of a chat about that. Also, Shane Patton, the police commissioner, must do the right thing and resign, and I'll tell you why. Also, we have lodged a new E-petition to Parliament House calling for the banning of cash for votes. That's right, the shady practice of preference dealing, which is currently active in Victoria right now. Also, the Melbourne Chinese community has called out once again in heroic manner the many human rights abuses in China. So I'll show you what they've been up to, and I can tell you that I support them 100%. And also, we see the emergence of 100 new Australian billionaires throughout the past 2.5, 3 years, the period of COVID. So we're going to look at the number of Australian billionaires from 2019 up until today, 2022. And it's really quite telling of the signs that we are living in. Alrighty, so I'm just going to check the connection. Just give us a thumbs up and let me know that it's coming through loud and clear, and go ahead and give the broadcast a like, give it a share. You know what we do here, folks, independent media. This is definitely not the mainstream media. There's Margs, David, Colleen. It's great to see you guys. There's Joe. Joe says that you did the petition. Thank you very much. And we know that sometimes petitions do not mount to anything, but it's very important that we put our intent on record. So I can speak on behalf of myself and the entire crew at Freedom Party of Victoria when I say that should we get our candidates elected to the next Victorian Parliament, fighting to criminalise the practice of exchanging money for preferences or selling preferences for money. Effectively, that's what it is. That will be 100% something that is on our agenda. Alrighty, so Tracy says that the electorate boundaries are changing. That's right. So if you'd like to see what the new boundaries are, you can head on over to the VEC website in order to see exactly where you fit in come this November for the state election. And I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a big contest, a big challenge, and it could potentially be a political bloodbath. But I think that we're all ready for that. Raise your hands if you're ready for that. What do you think? 3 years of this government and everything they've done. I know there are so many people out there that are just ready to go, ready to put boots on the ground in order to pursue justice and the type of future that we want our children to grow up in. Who here agrees with that? If you do, raise your hand. Alrighty. And there's my man there, Andrew Philippopoulos. How you doing, my man? Alrighty, so let's get started, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? All right, first on the agenda, I just wanted to give a big congratulations to my friend, Tony from FATV Jerky, and allow me to say this is not a paid promotion, but I want to give a shout out. Tony runs a home-based business making beef jerky and recently received 2 awards, a gold and a silver from the Royal Tasmanian Fine Food Award. So he's worked his backside off for this business. Tony is former ADF. We love him. He's a big supporter of the show, a big supporter of freedom, and he makes a great product, which I think is one of the most important things. So guys, if you'd like to support Tony, a great home-based business, great beef jerky made right here in Victoria, it's fatvjerky.com.au. Alrighty, so exit plan for Dan went down on Saturday. That's right. We had a great event, a great turnout, our official campaign launch for the seat of Mulgrave. And allow me to put on record that we are the first party to roll out a candidate for the seat of Mulgrave. We're not running away from this guy. We are running straight in. So I'd like to really thank everybody that came. Also on that day, I announced our small Australian business policy. That's right. So at Freedom Party of Victoria, we are 100% pro small business, and we are 100% against any measure taken by the government to impede on the operations of small businesses, such as, say, coercing businesses to close their doors or something to that effect. And we will be publishing in full our small Australian business policy on our website, which is freedomparty.net.au. And there'll be many more to come, ladies and gentlemen. And if you'd like to stay up to date and or become a member of our party, again, the website is freedomparty.net.au. And I can tell you the memberships are growing by the day. And I have a suspicion that we may be the most rapidly growing small party here in Victoria. So get on board, because we are working on this morning till night time. We will not rest until major things change, but of course we can only do it with your help. That's right. This is a group effort, and these problems have been brewing for a very long time, and that requires a massive, massive collective of good-hearted people that want to see this current government cast away to never return. Who here would like to see that? Alrighty, so let's get stuck into some stories, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Let me just make sure that we're all connected here. All right, and I can see that we certainly are. Okay, great. So what do we have here? All right, who here saw this? Raise your hands if you saw this. Dan Andrews dishes out $6.8 million for Pride parties. Okay, so that's over 4 years. So the $6.8 million will cover 4 street parties, and they are Pride parties. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you the question. Do you think the government of the day should be using taxpayer money to fund parties and things like that? Or do you think they should maybe be using the money to fund other things? I'm asking you the question, just putting it out there. So let's have a bit of a look at this to create a little bit more context. All right, so this was published just a week ago by the Mirage. Street party in Inner North, symbol of pride. The Andrews Labor government is throwing a massive summer street party as part of a statewide celebration of our lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans and gender diverse, intersex and queer communities. The Labor government is investing $6.8 million taxpayer dollars in making this statewide celebration a staple of Victoria's events calendar over the next 4 years. It's also interesting to point out that the population of Victoria is roughly $6.8 million. So that's essentially $1 for every single person in Victoria. What do you think about that, folks? Now, this comes after we've seen the funding of a new Pride Centre in Melbourne to a total tune of $25 million. So the funding for these parties, these street parties, comes in addition to $25 million being invested in a Pride Centre. So what do you think? Do you think the government should have the capability to make these unilateral decisions to spend such huge amounts of taxpayer money? Do you think the allocation of funds in this manner is in line with the general community expectations of Victoria? And here's another question. Do you think Dan Andrews consulted with his constituents in Mulgrave before making this decision? Because this does seem very unilateral to me. I don't think this was a particularly democratic decision. Maybe I'm wrong. If I am, please feel free to correct me and put your thoughts in the comments. Now, there's something quite different that I would like to see our tax money here in Victoria going towards, and that is, of course, people who are out of pocket due to the border closures that we've experienced during this time. So have a look at this. Victorian government refuses to compensate residents locked out by border closures despite Ombudsman recommendation. So what this says to me, ladies and gentlemen, is that the priorities of our government appear to be backwards. Of course, that's my opinion. But that's why myself and the team, we are going as strongly as we can into this campaign, because we want to see Victorian tax dollars going where they need to go, helping the people that need it the most. And if we go on like this, well, it's only a matter of time before our debt gets out of control and there may be no going back. And remember, the debt here in Victoria is more than Queensland, New South Wales and Tasmania combined. So I hardly think we're in a position where we can be splashing millions of dollars left, right and centre. What do you think? Put your thoughts in the comments. Alrighty, moving along here. What do we have? Cash for votes, that's right. Raise your hand if you are aware of the shady practice of exchanging cash for votes. That's right, it's a very popular practice in Victoria, and it is indeed the practice of purchasing preferences that has seen people to the likes of Rod Barton elected to Parliament. That's right, Rod Barton, good old Rod, right, that contested in the Eastern Metropolitan Region right here in Victoria last election, scored a whopping 0.6% of the vote, but had an avalanche of other parties that preferenced him second that were involved in this cash for preferences web. And as a result, Rod Barton was able to step out of his taxi and straight into the upper house. That's right, straight into the red leather, as some people like to refer to it as. So here at Freedom Party of Victoria, we are opposed to this practice. We believe that parties must campaign based on merit. And in order to not exploit the public, parties must number their preferences in a manner that is reminiscent of their political, ideological positions. That's right. In other words, here in Victoria, due to the group voting ticket, preferences are chosen by the party, not the voter. Okay? I'm referring to when voting above the line on the upper house ticket. It is the expectation of the voter that if you vote for a party, one above the line, that should that party not be elected, your vote will be transferred to a party that holds a similar political platform on various positions that you are supporting, right? Just imagine how upset you'd be if you voted for a party because they're against, say, the privatization of Vic Roads or something to that effect, but your vote goes to a party that supports it. Or you vote for a party that is proclaiming to stand up for freedom, and then your vote's transferred to a party that is supporting lockdowns. You'd be pretty angry. So that's why we are shining a light on this, and we have submitted this petition to Parliament. So you can sign the petition if you like. The link to the petition is in the description of this video, and you can go and have a read through it. But effectively, what we are calling for is for there to be penalties for this practice. All right, so we're looking at a minimum penalty of $400,000 or up to 12 months imprisonment. And the reason for that is really simple. Democracy should not be for sale, and voters do not deserve to be exploited when they cast their vote at the ballot box. So if you support what we're doing, you can go ahead and get behind this petition. This is an official petition to the Parliament of Victoria. And stay tuned because we are just getting started on this matter. Alrighty, who here saw this? 100 new Australian, may I add, Australian billionaires emerged during the COVID-19 period. So what am I talking about here? And why would this happen? Now, of course, during the COVID-19 period, we've seen countless amounts of small businesses go under to never return. And many small businesses that are still operating are fighting for survival every day. Now, the same is not actually true for some of the multi-billion dollar corporations in Australia and our billionaires, many of whom have been able to drastically increase their wealth. Now, do you think this is just a coincidence, or do you think maybe there's something else to it? So I'm going to show you some figures right here. Now, this is coming from statista.com, which I do consider to be a fairly reliable source for various statistics. So what we have here in 2019, and this is in relation to the number of billionaires in Australia, we see 37, all right? They made a prediction for 2024, which is actually quite wrong. I think this prediction could not come true based on the data that we now have. All right, but this is the key figure right here. So 37 billionaires in Australia, as in Australian billionaires in 2019. And how many do we have today? Well, there was an article published recently, 9 News. Australia has a record 137 billionaires, okay, as in right now 2022. So that's an increase of 100 over the past few years during all the COVID-19 turmoil and everything like that. So there's been some major winners as well. So in addition to the emergence of new billionaires, we see the existing billionaires in Australia drastically increasing their wealth. Okay, so Gina Rinehart, she's usually in the lead when it comes to this sort of stuff, says that she topped the Financial Review Rich list for the 3rd consecutive year, becoming Australia's richest person with a record 34.02 billion, up $3 billion from last year. All right, so in other words, she's not short of a penny, ladies and gentlemen. There's a couple other examples here. Strong iron ore prices have put a wind in the sails of Pilbara mining mogul Andrew Forrest. And for some astute listeners, you'll know that I created a presentation on Andrew Forrest and his connections with China back in 2020. He comes in at number 2 with a wealth of 30.72 billion, all right, up from 8 billion 2019, all right? So think about that. 2019 is worth 8 billion. 2022, he's worth 30 billion. And it was, my goodness, Andrew Forrest that engaged in a press conference with Greg Hunt back in 2020 to announce a tremendous deal that Forrest had struck with BGI Group for the importation of millions of COVID tests. And then we saw BGI Group make its way into Australia, of course, being able to obtain quite a strong foothold in the biotech market here in Australia. So there's some interesting little tidbits that have also transpired along the way. And if you'd like to go and see the presentation I made, it's on my website, mcjreport.com, under the tab Special Presentations. All right, we also see Anthony Pratt, the Pratt family, of course, known for their wealth, the cardboard manufacturer VZ, up as well. Okay, so from 24.3 billion up from 20.09 billion. Let me see. Also, we have Meriton founder Harry Triguboff has built his wealth from 17.27 billion to 21.25. Okay. Clive Palmer, of course, in the iron ore industry, he did very well during COVID. And it says here he went from 13.01 billion to 19.55 and remains the number 7 most wealthy person here. And that's in part to his, goes on to say, 2006 royalties deal with the Chinese mining giant CITIC. All right, so CITIC is a pretty interesting organization based in China, most definitely a conglomerate. They're involved in lots of different businesses, including but not limited to venture capitalism, I suppose you can say. And they have been involved in the funding of various areas in biotech, such as genomic sequencing. So it's pretty interesting when you research all of these companies and you find out where their financial interests are, and you start joining a few dots and things like that. So ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty interesting. I think that what we need in this country is an absolute changing of policy in relation to small Australian business. We need to empower small Australian businesses. We don't need to be empowering the billionaires here in Australia. They've got enough money. Small business is the backbone of our country, and I think we can all agree that these are exactly the people that we need to be standing up for. Alrighty, now what do we have next? Eternal Spring. So I was really happy yesterday that I was invited to a special cinema session for this movie Eternal Spring. It's an animation. I was invited by Stephen and Harry from the Falun Gong community here in Melbourne. So thanks a lot to Stephen and Harry for having me. An excellent movie that is designed for the purpose of raising awareness about the various human rights abuses that are taking place in China. So the Falun Gong practitioners have really been on the terrible receiving end of such a huge degree of inhumane treatment, torture, imprisonment, leading all the way up to the crime against humanity known as forced organ harvesting. Okay, so when I'm referring to this type of practice, this was a practice that was determined by the China Tribunal a couple of years ago, beyond reasonable doubt to be occurring in China, which, as the name suggests, is the non-consensual forced removal of victims' organs for the purpose of selling on often the international black market. So a really interesting film about a group of practitioners in China who were actually able to hijack the airways in order to counter propaganda that had been espoused through the airways via the Chinese Communist Party. It's a really fascinating film, and the people involved, half of them ended up dying in custody, or we can really say that they were killed. A couple were able to escape, but I've got a little trailer right here. I think it's interesting because it really shows the extent to which a government can persecute its own people when authoritarianism is left unchecked. And I think we can all agree that no country is immune, no government is immune, no police force is immune. You know that once they get given those orders, there's a good chance they'll go and carry it out. So this is some of the people here who invited me, Stephen and Harry. So again, thank you. And I've always had a great time supporting the Chinese community here in Melbourne, those who are speaking up against many of the horrors that take place in China. We've been actually working together for several years now, dating back to when I first protested Daniel Andrews about his deal with the Chinese Communist Party, the Belt and Road Initiative. So we've been working hand in hand. Anyway, I've got a little trailer here, so go ahead and watch it, and I think that you'll find it quite thought-provoking.
像小孩的，我觉得长城就是一个小孩子看的一本童话书。当然还有很多，在那种寒冷冬天下那种人与人之间的友谊，小朋友之间的、亲人之间的那种非常温暖的感觉。我当时在那个插播之后，他们跟着我。 所以我觉得也是我们该离开的时候了。
我们唯一的诉求就是要通过一种方式讲述一种真相。
任其迫害，大家谁也不说话。他杀人放火了，那你是人吗？没法。
当我画的时候呢，其实我作为一个专业的从业人员的时候，我并不难。但是当我在体会 当时那种带回那种回忆的时候呢，我有一种很沉重的被压抑的感觉。
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching that. And remember, true authoritarianism is only ever one government away. That's right. And I think that a lot of Australians never thought that something like that could happen here. Well, it's really time to think very seriously about the future, about our freedoms, and about the type of character that we have in Parliament. Now, this is not conspiracy in relation to the abuses that are taking place on an industrial level in China. It's been well documented, investigated. There have been numerous tribunals held. So a question you may be asking yourself is, why have we not seen mass world sanctions against the Chinese Communist Party, similar to the sanctions that we've seen against the Russian government in recent times? I don't honestly have the answer to that question, but if I was forced to take a guess, I would probably say commercial self-interests, things like that. All right, folks. Shane Patton must resign. Raise your hand if you agree with that statement. So Shane Patton, who is he? He is the Victoria Police Commissioner. He has been the Commissioner throughout the past 3 years, and he has overseen some of the most violent scenes that we have witnessed. Well, actually, not some of the most violent scenes we have witnessed in the history of our state and country, right here in the streets of Melbourne, carried out by uniformed officers. Now, Shane Patton is yet to actually address the use of force. He's yet to address the indiscriminate use of pepper spray, arrest with excessive force, the use of semi-automatic weapons, the use of rubber bullets, tear gas, and the tactics such as entrapment and kettling, the arbitrary raiding of people's homes, and things like that. It's disgraceful that the police commissioner would not address this very, very apparent overreach and use of force. So the only reasonable thing at this stage is for Shane Patton to resign. He probably needs to be investigated. What do you think? Along with the countless amounts of other police officers who have abused their powers over the past few years. Now, I think that probably somebody like Shane and other officers who have abused their powers, and by the way, I'm not saying all officers. We do need a police force. We need a good police force that cares about the public. And to all the good police officers out there, I say awesome stuff, and I'd love to have a beer with you sometime. But we're really talking about the overuse of power and force. Now, should I be elected to Parliament and other candidates from Freedom Party of Victoria, I can tell you that we will make life hard for this man right here and those who think they can simply abuse the public and then to sweep their crimes under the rug. Now, I'm going to play some footage for you. It goes for about 8 minutes. It's a bit of a recap of the use of excessive force and violence carried out by Victoria Police over the past couple of years. Now, before I play the footage, I just want to warn you that there is coarse language, there is violence. The footage could very well be very, very disturbing to some viewers. So if you are very much disturbed by this type of thing, you should probably turn the show off now. The main reason I'm showing it is because I consider it so deeply important that we never forget what happened on the streets of Melbourne, and we must always remain motivated in our pursuit of justice. I'm going to play the video for you right now.
These are insane scenes, ladies and gentlemen. The world needs to see what the fake news will not.
They're on the ground! They're on the ground! They're on the ground! On the ground! Easy, easy, easy. Boys, easy. Arm on your back. All right, get the eye gouge in there. Arm on your back. I ain't fucking resisting. You fucking eye gouged me, you fucking dog. You fucking eye gouged me. You fucking eye gouged me. Please. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? You guys are fucked! You are fucked! What the fuck is this? What the fuck is that? Shooting fucking innocent people! For fucking reason! Why are you aiming that fucking thing at me? What is wrong with you? Why? What real?
No offense, guys, but you fucking after you don't even report the fucking story anyway, so you can get fucked. That's just to the people that don't report the story. Everyone else I don't have a problem with.
Oh! Shit!
Fucking pig! Fuck off, you pig!
Fuck you!
United, go! We gotta stay together, united. Come on! No worries, legends. Thanks, boys. That's it. See? You guys are the people, man. Thank you, guys.
Epic standoff. Peaceful protesters not being violent, and the police are unsure what to do.
This is fucking Australia! Gotta go around the back, guys. Far out.
They're throwing stuff now, and okay, they're shooting. They're now shooting. They're now shooting people. You can hear the, oh my god! You're all a bunch of They're just shooting at everyone now. They're shooting again. They're going through the trees and everything. All the bullets you can hear, like just flying through the trees, and the whizzing sound of it going through the air. And you can see.
What sort of gun is that? If you've had enough as much as us, why are you still enforcing it, boys?
You have to.
No, you don't have to.
This is what. Listen, we're not here to argue with you, unless go home. Otherwise, they start issuing tickets.
Bro.
We don't want to do it, but we will do it. Right?
Well, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Stand up for what you believe in rather than paycheck.
Just go home, all right? We get paid to do this, mate. I'm just as over this fucking protest as you are. By protest, I mean lockdown, all right?
Fair enough,
unfortunately,
mate. Fair enough.
I've got to do what I've got to do. And
You
that's why I'm
don't
here
have
trying
to
to
do
talk
that.
to you.
You don't have to do that. You're choosing to do it for
I'm
a
not
paycheck.
skilled to do anything else, mate. So unfortunately,
Mate,
this time of my life, that's what I have to
and
do.
the people of us that aren't skilled, we don't get paid. We're not getting food at the moment.
I hear you, mate. My wife's in the same position. She's out of a job at the moment as well. I understand you're being pissed off about it, but there's a way to go about it, that's all. And unfortunately,
I feel
punching on with coppers isn't it, mate.
I respect that. And what I feel like it's like an animal's backed into a corner. We don't want anything. We don't want to attack. We don't want any of this.
You might not, mate.
You keep pushing us, and that's where we're all at. We don't want to do this, but we're having to do this because we cannot see our families. People are killing themselves. None of this has to do with health. What health has to do with is exercise, fruit in the sun, not injections. Okay? Mental health affects physical health. You're locking us indoors. People are killing themselves. It's not to do with health.
I don't have time to get in a debate about it.
I know, because you need a paycheck. It doesn't matter what I say, because you're getting paid at the end of the day and you've got guns.
Look, at the end of the day, I agree with you.
Then why are you standing on this side and not with us?
Because that's what I get paid to do.
So you agree with me, but you get paid to do that, so you stand on that side.
Why I'm trying to talk to you the way I'm talking to you, as opposed
Exactly,
to...
because it's not, you're doing what you're getting paid to do, not what you stand in, and that's why I disrespect you.
That's fine, and I'm still asking you to go home, please.
Yeah, get your paycheck so you and your wife can eat. We won't, but you can eat, so...
We're not going home, we're just walking?
I know, we're not going home, we're not listening to your orders anymore.
I'm just letting you know, we come back again, you're all going to be arrested.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. We don't, if you can't tell, we're not afraid anymore.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, very disturbing footage. We've seen it all before, but allow me to say that there is nothing more dangerous than an armed man or group of men, or people, I should say, probably, who are willing to follow orders without asking any of their own questions. Questions in relation to morality or basic questions about the law. Is this order I have received lawful? Is it fair? Is it humane? Is it in the best interest of the community? So, Shane Patton, mate, this all happened under your watch. You need to do the right thing. You need to resign. You must be investigated and you must be charged. Simple as that, along with any other officer that abused their power during this time. So this is really all I have to say about that. And should our candidates be elected to Parliament, this is 100% something that we will be calling for. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that just about wraps us up for this evening. I'm just going to check on the chat to see who is on board. I can see a whole bunch of you tuned in on Facebook. There's a small crowd of you on YouTube, like always. We always have a bit of a YouTube crowd on board, so it's great to see you. Also, Rumble. I can see my Rumble regulars, including Jefe Fumador, right? The man behind FATV Jerky. Good to see you, Tony. What's going on, my man? There's DW from the United States. There's Purple there from Queensland. Very regular crowd. I'm always happy to see you guys. There's Jess. There's Rebecca. If anyone has a couple of questions or anything you'd like me to relay over the broadcast, then go ahead and put your thoughts in the comments, and I'll there's a lot of messages coming through, but I'll try to at least get to a couple. There's my mate Dragon. Dragon, it was great to see you the other day. Always a pleasure, my friend. And there's Sharon. Sharon, thank you for doing security on the MCJ Report broadcast. You are our security head of operations, and I appreciate you being here. There's Evelyn there. There's Jerry. Jerry, how you going, my man? Great to see you. Hope to see you at some of our events really soon. There's Marco. There's Running From Comfort. My man, Zach. How you going, my friend? Great to see you, as always. A big shout out to Zach from Running From Comfort. Go and check out his channel. Nothing but positive energy there coming from Zach. Just having a bit of a scroll. Yeah, Jess says you're paralyzed from disgust. I know. It's disgusting. Nobody ever thought it would be possible in a country like Australia, but what we now know is that anything is possible under the wrong type of government. That's right. We saw other types of protests during COVID that were able to proceed. And who here remembers the Assistant Commissioner Luke Cornelius making up all types of excuses why one protest that was from a different side of the political divide was able to proceed, yet other protests were not. All right? So Luke Cornelius, here's another guy who I say is not fit for purpose, needs to step down pending investigation. And in a perfect world, I'd love to see our police commissioner voted in by the people. I don't think the top position in a police force should also be a political appointment. What do you think? I say if you're going to dream, you may as well dream big. Alrighty, guys. Anyway, that just about wraps it up for this evening. If there is one thing that you do today, then go ahead and jump on over to freedomparty.net.au. We have tremendous momentum. We have members getting involved every single day. You can now apply to become a candidate. So if you'd like to really roll your sleeves up, get involved, and to do something for our state, then we want to hear from you. We're not looking for people, by the way, who dream about being politicians. We're looking for people who first and foremost are committed to the cause of justice and the cause of dignity and freedom for we as Australians. So if you think that's you, then I really, really do want to hear from you. So once again, that's freedomparty.net.au, and I'm looking forward to having you on the team. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. You know the drill. Mondays, 8 p.m. right here on either Facebook, YouTube, or Rumble. This is my permanent slot now, Mondays, 8 p.m. And stay tuned because there are so many exciting developments coming with Freedom Party of Victoria. We are going non-stop, that's right, myself and the team. And everybody has a great, great reason to be optimistic because I am telling you, without any shadow of a doubt, that victory is within arm's reach. And remember, the Latin word for Victoria is victory. We don't flee, folks, we fight. All right. Have a lovely evening. Morgan C. Jonas signing out.
you.